You sit down at your computer. The screen glows on. You click, type, open something. Everything from this point forward is shaped by the operating system running underneath. Most people never chose theirs deliberately. It came with the device, or it was what everyone around them was using, or it was simply what was already there when they turned the machine on for the first time. But the operating system is not a neutral background detail. It is a set of choices built into the machine about what you can do, how easily, and who is in control of the experience. 3 systems. 3 completely different answers to the question nobody thinks to ask before they sit down. The real reason Windows, Mac, and Linux feel so different is not their speed or their design. It is the relationship each one was built to create between you and your computer. Let's get into it right here on Secrets of Simple Things. The personality of the machine. At its core, an operating system is the layer between you and everything your computer can do, not just software, the personality of the machine. It decides how files are organized, how updates are handled, which apps are allowed in, how much you can customize, and how much the system assumes you want to be left alone to get on with things. The hum of a system starting up. The particular visual rhythm of a dock sliding in from the side, a taskbar sitting at the bottom, or a terminal prompt blinking quietly in the dark. Each one reflects a different answer to the question of what a computer is for. And understanding the difference between them starts with where each one came from. 3 systems, 3 philosophies. It did not start as a consumer choice. It started with a question that had never been answered before. How do you get a human being who is not a programmer to use a computer? For most of computing's early history, the answer was, you do not. Computers spoke in code, and only people who could speak code back could use them. Then came the graphical interface, a screen with windows, icons, and a cursor you could move with your hand. Xerox developed the idea in the early 1970s at their research laboratory. Apple looked at it, understood what it meant, and in 1984 released the Macintosh, the first widely available computer built around this visual approach. Microsoft followed in 1985 with Windows. But here is where they immediately diverged. Apple built the Mac to run only on Apple's own hardware. One company controlled the machine and the software inside it. The result was a tighter, more consistent experience, but one that existed entirely inside Apple's world. Microsoft took the opposite approach. Windows was designed to run on hardware from any manufacturer. Dell, HP, IBM, a garage builder in any city on the planet. Microsoft licensed Windows to PC makers, and Windows spread to virtually every office, school, business, and home across the world. Not because it was always better, but because it ran on everything and everyone could get it. Then in 1991, a 21-year-old student at the University of Helsinki posted a message online saying he was working on a free operating system. Just a hobby, he said. It would not be big or professional. His name was Linus Torvalds, and what he built became Linux. Linux now runs over 90% of the world's web servers. It runs every Android phone. It powers supercomputers, research institutions, and the International Space Station. It is free, open source, and maintained by developers worldwide. No single company owns it. 3 systems, all born from the same decade, all still running, still shaping billions of lives, and the philosophies that separated them at the beginning are exactly the same philosophies that separate them today. Every time you open your computer, you are living inside a decision made 30 or 40 years ago by people who had entirely different ideas about what a computer should be for. What you actually get and give up. So what are you actually choosing when you pick one of these 3? Windows runs on virtually any PC hardware from any manufacturer. Budget laptop, gaming rig, decade-old office machine, custom-built desktop. If it is a personal computer, Windows almost certainly runs on it. The software library is the widest of any operating system. Most apps, games, tools, and business programs are built to work with Windows first. The trade-off is that openness. Windows has to work with hardware from thousands of different manufacturers, and that creates friction. Updates sometimes break things that worked before. It is the most targeted system for viruses and security vulnerabilities because it is the most widely used. Over time, a Windows machine tends to accumulate a certain digital weight. Old files, background processes, software that installed itself alongside something else. Mac is the product of Apple controlling both the hardware and the software simultaneously. The chip, the display, the operating system, all designed together by the same company. The result is a consistency and smoothness that is genuinely difficult to replicate. Copy something on your iPhone and paste it on your Mac. Answer a phone call through your laptop. AirDrop a file to someone standing next to you. These things work because Apple designed the entire environment around them. The trade-off is that you are inside Apple's world. Mac only runs on Apple computers, which are significantly more expensive than comparable PCs. And the longer you use it, the harder leaving becomes, because your habits, apps, and workflows have all grown around it. Linux belongs to no single company. It is open source, free, and maintained by developers across the planet. Think of it this way: Windows is a well-stocked hotel where everything is provided for you. Mac is a boutique hotel with house rules but beautiful rooms. Linux is an apartment. You can do anything you want with it, but you also need to know where the fuse box is. That involvement is the trade-off. Linux rewards people who want to understand and control their system. For people who simply want things to work, it asks more than they may be ready to give. It is not about the specs. The most common assumption people make when comparing these three is that the choice comes down to performance. Speed, memory, processing power, graphics capability. They compare benchmarks and specifications. But that framing misses the more important difference. The meaningful gap between Windows, Mac, and Linux is not hardware. It is the relationship each system creates between the user and the machine. Who controls the updates? On Windows, you may have limited say over when they install. On Mac, Apple decides what is allowed to run. On Linux, you control almost everything. Who decides which software you can use? On Mac, Apple vets what goes into its ecosystem. On Windows, almost anything goes. On Linux, you are free to install whatever you can find. How much friction sits between wanting to do something and actually doing it? The answer is different for each system, and that friction shapes your daily experience far more than any processor benchmark ever could. There is also a common misunderstanding about Linux specifically. Because it has a reputation for being technical, many people assume it is niche or marginal. But Linux quietly runs more of the world's computing infrastructure than any other system. The idea that it belongs only to specialists is a consumer perception, not a reflection of where it actually operates. It runs the platforms you use every day. You just never see it. Where each one lives today. Today, you will find Windows on the majority of personal computers sold globally. Office machines, gaming rigs, business laptops, the self-checkout screen at the supermarket, the ticketing system at the train station, the display behind the counter at your bank. It is the default for most of the world's personal computing. Mac runs on MacBooks, iMacs, and Mac Studios, used by designers, video editors, musicians, developers, and anyone who has moved deeply into the Apple ecosystem. Its market share is smaller than Windows, but its users tend to stay for a very long time. Linux is everywhere and almost nowhere visible to the average user simultaneously. It runs on the servers that deliver almost every major website. It runs underneath every Android phone. It powers supercomputers modeling climate, simulating physics, mapping the human genome. The International Space Station runs on Linux. And a growing number of people use Linux desktop environments because they want a computer that does precisely what they configure it to do, without the accumulated weight of a commercial operating system built around someone else's priorities. The three systems are not competing for the same people. They are serving three different ideas of what a computer should be. Windows says, compatibility is freedom. Mac says, A closed system, done beautifully, is worth the trade. Linux says, the computer should serve the person who uses it, not the company that built it. A different relationship with technology. So when you choose between Windows, Mac, and Linux, what are you really choosing? Not just an operating system, a relationship with your computer, a set of trade-offs that shape your daily experience in ways you almost never consciously notice. Windows gives you compatibility and flexibility, the ability to run almost anything on almost any machine. The trade-off is more friction, more clutter, and more vulnerability. Mac gives you smoothness and ecosystem convenience. The trade-off is cost and a world you cannot easily leave. Linux gives you control and freedom. The trade-off is that it asks you to be involved. Your computer is not shaped only by its hardware. The operating system quietly decides how much freedom, convenience, control, and friction you experience every single day. The choice was made probably before you ever thought to make it. If this changed the way you think about the computer you use every day, let us know in the comments which system you use and whether that was ever really a conscious choice. And tell us what you want us to look at next. Thanks for watching. History often hides in the smallest details.